we will be entering Montenegro down this pathway. That's where a Second World War plane crashed. It resembles a mangrove. You cannot go through that. But Banjo, our host, will tell us a little bit more about it because as a kid he collected the parts of the aircraft.
Unten sehen wir seine kleine Hütte. Es ist wirklich eine traumhafte Umgebung. Es ist so idyllisch.
Before them, this was some God-forsaken, remote area that wasn't visited by anyone. Every child has to contribute. Every child works something. They are living fossils. They are dinosaurs of our age. There are no more people like that. These are the last ones. There won't be another generation doing this.
Wir müssen uns heute ein bisschen beeilen, wie immer eigentlich, weil wir wieder ein bisschen zu spät sind. Wir werden heute mit einem Local hier in die Berge gehen und werden ja, so eine traditionelle Art des Lebens erfahren von Leuten, die, man könnte sie schon als Nomaden bezeichnen, die wandern quasi in den Sommermonaten hoch in die Berge, stellen dort traditionellen Käse her und leben da in solchen einfachen kleinen Hütten.
Wir sind jetzt schon eine ganze Weile hier im Nationalpark. Hier im Süden von Bosnien gibt es allerdings ein großes Problem, nämlich die Sprachbarriere. Wir hatten jetzt hier schon einige Guides, die uns hier durch die Berge geführt haben. Und Englisch ist tatsächlich sehr, sehr selten hier. Also es gibt nicht viele, die gut Englisch können. Für den heutigen Trip haben wir jemanden gefunden, der richtig gut Englisch kann. Und der wird auch als Übersetzer dienen, damit wir wirklich richtig ins Gespräch kommen können mit den Leuten, die hier in den Bergen leben.
Along our journey through the Balkans, we heard tales about small nomadic communities secluded in these rugged mountains who live here as the last of their kind. Much like the abandoned sites we usually focus on, these people are remnants of a bygone era. In today's fast-paced world, they seem to have no place anymore. So our goal was clear: to meet them, explore their traditions, and help preserve their stories.
Morning.
Hi man.
How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
For that, we partnered with Dejan, our guide for the day.
How are you doing?
He grew up in these mountains and has forged close ties with the semi-nomadic people.
Actually, it's going to be a great day. This morning in Foča was 6 or 7 degrees, so it's fresh.
Sutjeska is the oldest and largest national park in the country. It stretches along the border with Montenegro, with certain areas only accessible with a guide. Thanks to Dejan, we were granted permission to the park's most hidden corners.
Yes, looking great.
For our first stop, we drove up one of the mountains, offering a panoramic view of the so-called Valley of Heroes, where we had spent the night near the World War II memorial we captured at sunrise. From this vantage point, our journey into the wild expanse of Sutjeska began.
Now we are visiting National Park Sutjeska. What you see here is Maglic, the highest peak of Bosnia, officially in the distance already in Montenegro, and then Mount Volujak, which stretches back to Bosnia, forming an arc. Destination for today is a heart-shaped lake in Montenegro, Nature Park Piva, and what stretches below us, and the opposite bank of this creek, is primeval forest Peručica, stretches far up towards Maglic. Interesting thing to say about Peručica is that it's a real thing, it's not commercialized tourist story. This is by many competent people last stronghold of real wilderness in Europe.
With its ancient roots dating back over 20,000 years, Peručica is part of Europe's last pristine wilderness, untouched by human hands. Venturing into its depths alongside the local rangers some days earlier, we wanted to witness how the continent's forests used to look before our ancestors cleared them all and replaced them with man-made ecosystems. Peručica offers a glimpse into these untamed landscapes. Within a few hundred meters, we encountered one of Europe's most venomous snakes, stumbled upon bare scratch marks, and heard the distant howls of wolves echoing through the woods. Hidden within this vast green canopy also lies one of the country's largest waterfalls, plummeting 70 meters into the valley below. But Perućica is just a small part of what makes the Sutjeska National Park so special. With anticipation building, we knew today's exploration had similar thrilling discoveries to unfold.
Alright, just a short ad break before we continue with today's video, because we've got some exciting news to share. After more than 12 months of intense work, we are thrilled to finally announce the release of our new book, Jäger der verlorenen Orte, published by National Geographic. Inside, we delve into our most captivating stories and discoveries from over a decade of urban exploration, most of which we actually never shared before. So if this sounds interesting to you, feel free to check out our website at bwturbex.com or wait until the end of this video to learn more. But for now, let's get back to our adventure and visit the last nomads of the Balkans. Flying right towards us.
Oh,
It's very near.
oh, this is something. And this is really something. I love this. Look at him gliding. I
He's
think
coming
your
now.
drone has nothing on this eagle.
Yes, he would crush our drone.
Oh, something. Oh, he looks towards us now.
coming.
Comes the scout. We are proud that we have managed to preserve all of the wildlife that's typical for this part of Europe. For people, most interesting is to hear about the big game. That means bears, which we have huge population of, chamois, deers, wild boars, and recently I was lucky enough to stumble upon a group of 5 small wolf cubs, and they were beautiful. I was also privileged enough to encounter a female bear with 3 cubs. It's rarely that she can manage to raise 1, but this time 3, and they were really well fed. I followed her a little bit to some extent, but she was pretty much persuasive, so I gave up. You know, she can persuade you really effectively. Now, what you see up there is Maglić. The highest from here is the Bosnian peak. Then goes the border line, and the neighboring peak over there is already in Montenegro. Basically, all of the peaks you see around us are over 2,000 meters. Over there, where you see the deposit of snow of the avalanche, the biggest deposit you can see from here, that's where Second World War plane crashed. I think it was a German plane, but Banjo Radovan, our host, will tell us a little bit more about it, because as a kid he knows a lot about it. He went there, they collected the parts of the aircraft. Oh, by now I think it's hard even to find where it was, because it resembles a mangrove. You cannot go through that. Even if you try, it takes you a few hours just to cross a few hundred meters, because it's really tricky to navigate through. So I think that place is forgotten. Only you have people like Banjo host that know that even existed. Otherwise I wouldn't be know about it. You see those roofs, that's where he lives. Normally this is Katun, so that means this is a temporary settlement, because the winters are so harsh that it would be pretty much really tricky to withstand the winter here. I'm asking him about the airplane. He says directly where you see this like bush line and then a cliff, right there. A koji je avion bio, znali se šta je?
To ne znam koji je bio, uglavnom su oba pilota, bombardier bio.
It was a bomber plane and both pilots died. Banjo will tell us at his hut a little bit more about himself and everything.
Nice.
Wir haben ihn gerade unten getroffen, als er seine Kuh verloren hat. Hat uns gefragt, ob wir eine Kuh gesehen haben. Dann hat er so abgewunken und hat gesagt, ja, wird schon irgendwann wiederkommen. Unten sehen wir seine kleine Hütte. Dahinter ist ein Stall mit Kühen. Das ist wirklich eine traumhafte Umgebung. Es ist so idyllisch. Jetzt lädt er uns gleich auf ein Getränk ein, so wie ich das verstanden habe, und erzählt uns ein bisschen von seinen Geschichten, die er so hat.
Cheers, živjeli.
Our host Banyo was in his 60s and a member of the dwindling semi-nomadic community in these remote mountains. Living alone in his hut, he continues the traditional lifestyle of his ancestors, who first settled in this area around 200 years ago.
At the time when his folks came here in the 19th century, there was no Katun here. They founded it. So nobody was having not even temporary settlements. They were the first one. Before them, this was some God-forsaken, remote area that wasn't visited by anyone. I vi ostajete otprilike do prvog snijega. They would stick here every year until the first signs of a snow. When they appear, it's signal to go away. Basically, they came here because they had lack of water in Bileća, where he's come.
The search for water and grazing land brought them to these high altitudes. They traveled for days or even weeks with their cattle to reach the pastures. During the warm summer months, Banyo lives with his herd up here, where the animals roam freely. In the winter, they migrate to lower altitudes to escape the harsh conditions.
That's what he baked the bread also, everything. And this is a little bit younger, kaimak.
Banyo has everything he needs to live right here. He sources the food from his animals and land, growing and producing everything himself.
This is from last evening. Cheese. It's really fresh.
Our host shared his homemade cheese with us, giving us a taste of his self-sufficient lifestyle.
I will say this is very tasty.
Ukusno.
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 Samo da ga još malo soliti.
Has to be a little bit more salted, he said.
These people live in close accord with nature, preserving many traditional customs that might otherwise be lost to time.
To be squashed and squeeze the liquid out of it. You see?
To je
This is this morning's cheese. This is the old way of making it. It's pressed and the liquid goes out of the cheese.
Our host has been raised in a life of self-sufficiency. From an early age, Banyo learned to thrive on what nature provides. Those who grow up in these nomadic communities have to mature quickly.
Yes.
He was about 5 years of age when he came here first time. Every child on Katun has to contribute. There are no children playing. Every child works something. It's not like you are fooling around. If you are small enough, yes, but 5 years of age, you already can pass me something. You can do something. Go bring the sheep or something. It's not hard physically, but you are participating, which is good for forming the character.
Sheltered in the silence of the highlands, these people defy modernity to this day. They live with minimal comforts in the simplest conditions. Here's a glimpse inside Banyo's humble hut.
Musst du mal anschauen. Jetzt hier riesige Wand voller Milch, in denen er Käse macht.
It may not seem like much, but that's all Banyo needs to be happy, he told us.
Ne bi volio više.
No, I wouldn't like to have any luxury or to have more.
Zadovoljan sam.
I'm really satisfied. I'm more than satisfied with what I got.
I tako. Tak bi volio
So he
više.
feels lucky. He's happy, and he doesn't need anything. He's good the way it is. The road is there. People can come to him. He can come more easily than before. More people, so he's not lonely at all. Ti se nisi nikad oženio.
Jok.
Banyo is a single. He never got married. Šta je to?
Pa ne znam, ne znam što je, ne znam o čemu je, ali tako, Bog odredio kolije, ne znam nije.
Moramo za Banjo, we have to find some lady for Banjo. He never got married so far, but we have to find some for him.
It's a life marked by solitude and seclusion, as there are fewer and fewer of his kind. Yet, compared to the past, it has become easier now. Using a car battery, Banyo can charge a cell phone or radio, allowing him to stay connected with others of his kind, even if they don't see each other for days or even months at a time.
So that technology, progress in technology, shows, I believe, maximum of benefits in the area like this, to the people like Banyo is.
Dolazi
On the other
struja.
hand, the people like ourselves is speeding up our lives so much that we are exposed to more stress than normally. would be.
Gdje dolazi struja, dolazi i telefoni, dolazi sve tako da se
So with the electricity and phones and everything, it's much easier to live and withstand the winters.
Je, čovjek je bogatiji što više.
Banyo's a modest man, even doing the dishes more joyfully than anyone we've met before. In this remote corner of the world, he and his people embody a way of life that seems almost untouched by time. We bid farewell to continue our journey and carried with us a deeper appreciation for the enduring spirit of those who choose to live in harmony with the land, even though it's demanding, with only a few moments to catch a breath.
Typical day of a man here starts literally at dawn. They woke up really early, prepared the cattle, and then set them onto pastures. They do a little bit of errands about the cheese, milk. He's busy entire day, and in the evening he goes to accept the cattle. In the afternoon actually, and he waits for his cows and escorts them back to the stables where he milks them. It's a full-time work. Entire day you have something to do about it. Rarely you have spare time to enjoy. We will be entering Montenegro. Down this pathway there will be one plate on the tree that says "Welcome to State of Montenegro," and our trip will take us behind that forest line in the distance. At the right corner of that we are going to enter the amphitheater where the heart-shaped lake is. So that's the goal for today. Now don't get me wrong, but this is the place where they had a suitable spot for the plate. This is not where we officially enter. We already entered before, but this is where you are familiarized with the fact that you have entered.
This looks peaceful.
Yep. All of the cows you see are from the next host that we are heading, and his Katun is to the right from us, up there, a little bit higher.
Just a few hours from Banyo's hut, Dejan guided us to the remote, heart-shaped lake nestled in the mountainous scenery. Nearby, on a high pasture, lies a small settlement we aim to visit for a quick stop before making our way back to Bosnia.
Here are the kids from Katun. In this Katun here live two families of two brothers, and as you can see, their offspring at the early age, they are already guarding the sheep, participating, helping their parents, and by many standards this is healthy growing up, definitely. Je li tako, Majo? Je li? Jeste? Ma jeste, tako je.
Tako je, tako.
Odlično. Silaze li da se kupaju u jezeru?
Silaze.
They love to swim in the lake. So they have almost everything here.
Yeah, the scenery is just great.
You see the young girl goes to bring back the sheep. Kako se ti zoveš, Lafe?
Todor.
Todor. Baš ti je lijepo ime. His name is Todor. Pomažeš, čuvaš ovce i ti? He's guarding the sheep, he says. Yeah. Ti si dobar? Dobar dečko. Koliko godina imaš, Todor? Koliko? 4, jel? Jeli 4?
Aha, kivač ovdje.
He's shy.
In observing old customs, there are lessons to be learned. The nature-connected lifestyle we encountered on this journey into the mountains seems like a fragile relic in a world that no longer embraces such simplicity. The existence of nomadic communities is a constant struggle against the relentless march of modernity.
Manju ću ja. Sačekaj. Yep. There you go. You mix it with a spoon and then you eat it. This is sour milk, this is not yogurt, and you'll see the difference.
Here, as well as in many other parts of our globe, age-old traditions are threatened to be replaced with sterile conformity and uniform routines that lack connection to the land these people cherish. Something we ourselves might have already lost forever.
Basically, they are deprived of their dignity. They are lacking decent, respectful prices for what they produce. Because wherever they come with their products, they are being welcomed with almost an insult, and they cannot compete with big companies, with anything. Irony of the life here in Bosnia. Šta si rekao, Olafe?
Evo ga poput.
Eto ga. Irony of the life in Bosnia is when you enter the supermarket, the cheese from Denmark is cheaper than the cheese that they made. I told you everything. So that doesn't make sense. They are being suffocated gradually. And the old folks, the previous generation that has been raised this way, is settling down. The new generations will be, well, charmed by the urban areas, led by urban life, led by idea of easier life. The way of living is changing. They are living fossils. They are dinosaurs of our age. They are humans, but dinosaurs. There are no more people like them. These are the last ones. After these few kids that you recorded, there won't be another generation doing this. Pozdrav! Ciao, Lapčino. Okay, he's going to guard the sheeps. He has to guard the sheeps. Okay, ciao! Hoćemo. As soon as they grow up to be old enough to go to elementary school, things will change immediately for them. For example, already his big brother is not coming here that often, and he was a child of a mountain also. But this summer he's at the city. He wants to go out to get acquainted with girls or things like that. Nature takes its course. He cannot stay a lone wolf like Banjo. Those are phenomenons. You know? Because that's where the flow takes you. You're in the river. The stream takes you. It goes in one direction.
We are thrilled that our National Geographic book Jäger der verlorenen Orte has finally arrived. About a year ago, the publisher approached us with this idea of creating a text-rich photo book featuring our most captivating explorations. Now, the book has been released, currently available only in German. Across 200 pages, we delve into over a decade of urbex experiences, accompanied by our best photos. You can find it at various bookstores, and each purchase directly fuels our work and supports our project. The best way to support us is by purchasing the book from our webshop at bwturbex.com, where we offer signed copies. But act fast, as stocks are limited. You will find a link to a newly released German podcast interview where we speak about our book and our series Balkan Detours. And speaking of, we would really love to hear your feedback about today's non-urbex adventure. Documenting the stories of these people was just as important to us as preserving abandoned places, as both are endangered cultural legacies. What are your thoughts on this? And what lessons do you think can we learn from communities with a traditional lifestyle? Stay tuned for the last episode of Season 1 of Balkan Detours, where we're gonna sneak ourselves on a decommissioned military ship. Make sure to not miss that one, keep exploring, and see you next time.